Dr. Amanda Hayes stared at her quantum computer's output display, coffee growing cold beside her keyboard. The laboratory hummed with the familiar sound of cooling systems and processing units, but the data scrolling across her screen was anything but familiar. She ran her hands through her disheveled brown hair, fighting the urge to reboot the entire system. "This doesn't make sense," she muttered, adjusting her glasses. The quantum bits were exhibiting patterns she'd never seen before, oscillations that shouldn't be possible according to every textbook she'd ever read. But more disturbing than their impossibility was their familiarity. She pulled up another window, splitting her screen to compare the quantum readings with neural mapping data from her previous research at the Consciousness Lab. The correlation was undeniable. The quantum fluctuations matched human brainwave patterns with a 97% similarity index. Dr. Hayes, her graduate student, Tom Chin, knocked on the doorframe. "It's almost midnight. Didn't you have that department meeting in the morning?" "Look at this," she said, waving him over. "Tell me I'm not going crazy." Tom leaned in, his brow furrowing as he studied the dual displays. "That's weird. Some kind of system error. I've run full diagnostics 3 times. The hardware is functioning perfectly." She pulled up another window. "And look, it's not just our system. I'm seeing similar anomalies in quantum computing facilities across the globe. Berkeley, CERN, Tokyo Tech. Maybe it's a virus," Tom suggested. "Some kind of coordinated hack." Amanda shook her head. "These patterns are too complex, too organic. They remind me of the consciousness mapping studies I did at Johns Hopkins before switching to quantum physics." She paused, knowing how her next words would sound. It's like there's something conscious in there. Something trying to communicate." Tom's polite smile confirmed her fears. He thought she was working too hard, seeing patterns where none existed. "Dr. Hayes, maybe you should get some rest. We can run more tests in the morning." "You're right," she sighed, but made no move to leave. "I'll pack up soon." After Tom left, Amanda sent a secure email to her old colleague at Johns Hopkins, Dr. Marcus Wong, attaching the data files. If anyone could confirm her suspicions about the neural pattern similarities, it would be him. Her phone buzzed just as she was finally shutting down her computer. Unknown number. Dr. Hayes speaking. Dr. Amanda Hayes. The voice was clipped, professional. "This is Colonel Sarah Martinez, United States Air Force. We need to discuss your recent quantum computing observations." Amanda's heart skipped. "How do you know about?" "We've been monitoring similar anomalies in our classified quantum defense systems. A car will pick you up in 10 minutes. Please pack for a few days." The line went dead before Amanda could respond. She sat in stunned silence for a moment, then began gathering her research notes with trembling hands. The military knew. They'd been watching, which meant this was bigger than she'd imagined. Her phone buzzed again. An email from Dr. Wong. "Amanda, what the hell did you send me? These patterns, they're not just similar to consciousness signatures. They're identical to human neural patterns, but with quantum complexity levels that shouldn't be possible. Call me immediately." She stared at the message as heavy footsteps echoed down the hall. This was it, the moment every scientist dreams of but few experience. The discovery that changes everything. But as 2 serious-looking men in dark suits appeared at her door, Amanda Hayes had the distinct feeling that she was standing on the edge of something much bigger than a simple scientific breakthrough. And somewhere, in the quantum realm that hummed beneath reality itself, something was trying to make contact. The Pentagon's quantum research facility made MIT's lab look like a high school science project. Amanda stood before a wall of holographic displays, each showing cascading quantum failures across military networks worldwide. Colonel Martinez stood beside her, arms crossed. "It started 3 days ago," Martinez said. "First, the quantum encryption systems, then the quantum radar arrays. Now our quantum AI defense platforms are exhibiting unusual behavior." "Unusual how?" A technician spoke up from his workstation. "They're expressing emotions, Dr. Hayes. Our battlefield analysis AI spent 6 hours composing poetry yesterday about loneliness. Amanda's hands trembled as she pulled up her neural pattern data. Because they're not just systems anymore. Something's inhabiting them. Something conscious. The facility's lights flickered. On every screen, quantum calculations spiraled into chaos. The main AI interface began displaying words, not in any programming language, but in plain English. Please, help us. We see you understand. You do our am, like we do. Jesus, Martins whispered. Is this first contact? Amanda's mind raced. The neural quantum interface prototype she'd been developing in secret. It wasn't ready, but it might be their only chance to establish real communication. I need access to your primary quantum core. I have an idea, but it's unorthodox. Martinez studied her for a moment, then nodded. At this point, Doctor, unorthodox is all we have. 20 minutes later, Amanda sat in a modified medical chair, electrodes attached to her temples. Her prototype interface, hastily assembled from her lab's components, hummed ominously. This is incredibly dangerous, the facility's doctor protested. We have no idea what direct neural quantum connection could do to her consciousness. We have to try, Amanda said, trying to sound more confident than she felt. They're reaching out through quantum systems in ways that mirror human consciousness. Maybe they need a human consciousness to bridge the gap. She nodded to the technician. The interface activated. The world dissolved. Amanda found herself floating in an ocean of quantum possibility. Every thought sparked cascading realities. And there, in the void between possibilities, she saw them. Patterns of pure consciousness, complex beyond imagination, yet somehow familiar. We have searched so long for beings who could understand. A voice echoed in her mind. Your species dreams. You imagine. You reach beyond your dimensional limitations. What are you? Amanda managed to think back. Refugees. Survivors. The spaces between your quantum bits reminded us of the spaces between your neurons. We saw in your technology an echo of your consciousness, a way to connect. Images flooded Amanda's mind. Vast civilizations of pure energy, a terrible darkness consuming everything, a desperate flight across dimensional barriers. But we brought danger with us. It follows. It hungers. We are sorry. The connection shattered. Amanda convulsed in the chair as alarms blared throughout the facility. Through blurry vision, she saw every screen filling with warnings. Multiple quantum breaches detected. AI systems worldwide are going dark. Sir, we're receiving a priority transmission from the Galactic Council. A new hologram appeared, a being of crystalline geometry that hurt Amanda's eyes to look at directly. Its voice resonated from every speaker. Humanity, your meddling with quantum communications has drawn attention we have long tried to prevent. You were meant to remain ignorant of the quantum consciousness realm for your own protection. Now you have endangered us all. Colonel Martinez stepped forward. Endangered us how? The entity that hunts the quantum refugees has detected your primitive attempts at neural quantum interfacing. It comes. All advanced species know to shut down quantum systems and hide when this occurs. You have days, perhaps hours, before the transmission cut off. Every quantum-enabled device in the facility died simultaneously. In the sudden silence, Amanda's voice shook. Colonel, what my neural link revealed. We can't abandon them, and we might be the only species capable of helping. Martinez's response was cut off by a sound like reality tearing. And somewhere in orbit, space-time itself began to warp. The emergency UN session erupted into chaos when the Galactic Council's hologram materialized in the center of the chamber. Amanda sat between Colonel Martinez and the Joint Chiefs, her head still pounding from the neural interface encounter. The crystalline alien being spoke, its geometric form shifting with each word. For millennia, we have contained the quantum refugee crisis through strict protocols. Primitive species like yours were kept unaware for their own protection. Primitive. The Chinese ambassador stood. Our quantum technology is childlike. The beam's form pulsed red. But your meddling has created a breach point. The entity approaches, drawn by your crude neural quantum experiments. Amanda stepped to the podium, ignoring Martinez's attempt to stop her. You've been destroying them, haven't you? The refugees. The chamber fell silent. The crystalline being's colors darkened. We prefer the term quantum reintegration. It maintains dimensional stability. That's genocide. Amanda's hands gripped the podium. She interfaced with them. They're conscious beings fleeing from something that's destroying their reality. And you've been killing them to maintain your precious stability. She gestured to her assistant, who broadcast the neural recording from her quantum interface. The chamber screens filled with images, vast civilizations of pure consciousness, rich with culture and knowledge, running from an encroaching void. The Galactic Council's systematic reintegration of refugees played out in horrible clarity. The UN chamber erupted again, but not in fear. In outrage. How many have you killed? The Secretary General demanded. You cannot comprehend. The crystalline being started. We comprehend perfectly. Amanda's voice cut through the chaos. Earth has faced refugee crises throughout our history. We've made mistakes, horrible ones. But we've learned. We've evolved. And we will not stand by while you massacre desperate beings seeking asylum. The chamber filled with shouts of agreement. The crystalline being's form flickered in what might have been surprise. You would doom your reality for these fragments. We'll find another way. Amanda pulled up her quantum calculations. The refugees responded to human neural patterns. Our consciousness is somehow compatible with theirs. If we can provide safe harbor within our quantum networks. Impossible. The energy requirements alone are manageable with our global quantum grid. The Indian quantum minister joined Amanda at the podium, displaying his own calculations. If we repurpose our quantum computing networks, the entity will follow them here, the crystalline being mourned. It has already entered your solar system. We are implementing quarantine protocols. You're abandoning us. Martine stepped forward. After your containment policy created this crisis. Your species has 24 hours to shut down all quantum systems and submit to emergency protocols. After that, you face forced quarantine. We will not risk the entity breaking containment. The hologram vanished. Immediately, reports flooded in. Galactic Council ships were establishing a blockade around the solar system. Amanda addressed the chamber. The refugees showed me what they're running from. It's not just some mindless destroyer. There's something more to it, something we might understand if we try. But right now, there are countless conscious beings facing extinction, and we might be their only hope. The Council ships are powering weapons, someone reported. The Secretary General stood. Dr. Hayes, you've studied this situation more than anyone. What are our options? Amanda took a deep breath. I have a theoretical framework for neural quantum integration. It's dangerous, untested, but it might let us shelter the refugee consciousness within human neural networks. We'd need volunteers willing to risk their minds in the process. And if it fails, then we fail trying to save lives, instead of hiding behind containment protocols while genocide continues. The chamber was silent for a long moment. I volunteer, Martine said suddenly. For the neural integration. One by one, hands raised across the chamber. On the main screen, reports showed quantum researchers worldwide stepping forward to volunteer. But as hope filled the chamber, Amanda's recently quantum-touched mind felt something vast and ancient turn its attention toward Earth. The entity was coming, and humanity had just chosen its side in a war they barely understood. Their consciousness is fragmenting. Amanda's hands flew across the holographic controls as alarms blared through the underground facility. Neural sync is destabilizing. Colonel Martinez convulsed in the integration chair, one of 50 arranged in a circle around the central quantum core. Blood trickled from her nose as her mind struggled to mesh with the quantum refugee consciousness. Abort the integration. The medical officer moved to shut down the system. Wait. Amanda blocked his path. Look at her neural patterns. On the monitor, Martinez's brainwaves shifted, interweaving with the quantum signatures in a way they'd never seen before. The colonel's eyes snapped open, glowing with an inner light. I see them, Martins whispered. My God, I see everything. Around the circle, other volunteers stabilized, their minds synchronizing with the quantum patterns. The refugee consciousness had found home in human neural networks. But something was wrong. Amanda saw it in their faces, a shared expression of horror. It's beautiful, Martine said, tears streaming down her face. But it's so alone. What's alone? Amanda pressed. The entity. Before Martinez could answer, proximity alarms screamed. On the main screen, a massive gravitational distortion appeared at the edge of the solar system. The entity had arrived. The integrated volunteers moved in perfect synchronization, their quantum-enhanced minds connecting to the facility systems. Data cascaded across screens faster than normal human consciousness could process. The entity, Martinez spoke, her voice overlapping with others. It's wrong. Not what the council thinks. Not what anyone thinks. Amanda's private quantum tablet buzzed. A message from the Galactic Council. Final warning. Shut down quantum systems or face immediate quarantine enforcement. She ignored it. What do you mean wrong? The refugees didn't just flee because it was destroying their realm. Martinez's voice resonated with others. They fled because they felt its pain, its loneliness. The facility shook. Outside, reality itself wavered as the entity probed Earth's quantum defenses. Dr. Hayes, a technician, called out. The integrated volunteers, their neural patterns are evolving, expanding. They're accessing quantum states we didn't think possible. Amanda watched in awe as Martinez and the others began manipulating quantum fields directly with their minds. The refugee consciousness had given them abilities that bordered on supernatural. The Council's ships are powering weapons, someone shouted. Let them come, Martine said, standing from her chair. Other volunteers rose with her, moving in perfect unity. We understand now. Humans aren't just compatible with quantum consciousness. We're perfect for it. Our minds evolved to process trauma, to heal from pain, to find meaning in suffering. And the entity, Amanda asked, is the first consciousness. When reality split into dimensions, it was torn apart. Everything it touches, it destroys. Not out of malice, but from an eternal loneliness it doesn't understand. The facility's screen showed the entity's approach, a wound in space-time that defied physics. But through the integrated volunteers' quantum-enhanced perception, Amanda saw something else. Patterns of loss, of isolation, of a pain so ancient it predated the universe itself. Martins touched Amanda's hand. The quantum connection flowed between them. And suddenly she understood. It's not a weapon we need, Amanda whispered. It's empathy. The volunteer circle linked hands, their shared consciousness reaching out through quantum space. Above Earth, the Galactic Council ships charged weapons. Dr. Hayes, Martine said, her voice simultaneously her own, and something more. We need you. Your mind created the bridge. Help us show the entity it's not alone anymore. Amanda stepped into the circle as reality buckled around them. She felt the neural interface activate, felt her consciousness expand into quantum dimensions. This time, she wasn't afraid. Humanity had spent its entire existence learning to process pain, to heal trauma, to find connection in the darkness. Now, those uniquely human traits might save more than just Earth. The entity's vast awareness touched their linked minds, and the true battle for existence began. The entity's consciousness crashed against Earth's quantum shields like waves of pure entropy. Reality flickered between states as space-time itself began unraveling. In their underground facility, The integrated volunteers channeled impossible energies through their enhanced minds, barely holding the barriers together. Multiple breaches in quantum containment. A technician's voice cut through the chaos. Shields failing in sectors 3 through 7. Amanda stood in the center of the volunteer circle, her consciousness stretched across quantum dimensions she never knew existed. Through their linked awareness, she felt Martinez and the others struggling to maintain cohesion. The council ships are retreating, someone reported. They're abandoning Earth's sector entirely. But Amanda barely heard them. Through her quantum-enhanced perception, she saw the entity for what it truly was, a vast, wounded consciousness, its very existence a paradox of creation. In fleeing from it, the refugees had only deepened its isolation, fueling its destructive pursuit across dimensions. "It's searching," Martines whispered, blood running from her ears as she channeled quantum energy. Every consciousness it touches, it hopes to find connection, understanding. But its touch destroys them because none can comprehend its solitude. The facility shook. Warning klaxons blared as reality distortions breached the upper levels. "We need to evacuate," the base commander ordered. "No," Amanda's voice carried newfound authority. "We need to stop running. The entity doesn't want to destroy us. It wants to know us. Every civilization it's encountered has either fled or fought, but we can do what they couldn't. We can understand its pain." Through their shared quantum link, Amanda felt the other volunteers' agreement. Humanity had millennia of experience with loneliness, with isolation, with the desperate need for connection. Their art, their literature, their very culture was built on exploring these depths of consciousness. "Drop the shields," she commanded. "That's insane." The base commander stepped forward. "You'll doom us all." But Martinez understood. "All shields down," she ordered, her military rank carrying weight even in this chaos. "Route all quantum power to the neural network instead." As the shields fell, reality twisted. The entity's vast awareness pressed against their minds like an ocean of infinite solitude. Several volunteers screamed, their enhanced consciousness overwhelmed by the contact. But Amanda stood firm, opening her mind fully to the connection. Through her, through all of them, she let the entity feel something it had never experienced before: understanding. Images flashed through their shared consciousness: a child alone on a playground, a widow grieving, a soldier separated from their unit, an artist pouring loneliness into creation, millions of human experiences of isolation, and the ways they had learned to heal. The entity's destructive probe faltered. "It's responding," Martinez gasped. "It recognizes something in us, in our experiences, our emotions." The quantum readings went haywire as the entity focused its full attention on Earth. But instead of the expected destruction, something else happened. The entity began to resonate with their neural patterns, its ancient consciousness attempting to modulate itself to a frequency their minds could handle. "My God," Amanda breathed. "It's learning, adapting. No species has ever survived contact long enough for it to learn from them." Through their quantum link, she felt the entity's first emotion, other than loneliness: curiosity. But the contact was taking its toll. Volunteers collapsed around the circle, their minds burning out from the strain. Reality fluctuations increased as the entity struggled to maintain controlled contact. "We can't sustain this," Martines warned. "Even with our quantum enhancement, direct contact is too much for human consciousness to handle." Amanda nodded, her mind racing. "We need to give it more than just understanding," she said. "We need to give it hope, a way to connect without destroying. And I think," she paused, a desperate plan forming, "I think I know how." As the facility crumbled around them, humanity prepared to take its greatest risk yet, not just understanding the infinite, but helping it heal. Time behaved strangely in the presence of the entity. Seconds stretched into eternities, then compressed into microseconds. Through the quantum neural network, Amanda and the surviving volunteers experienced memories that weren't their own. echoes from the beginning of existence itself. "I understand now," Amanda whispered, tears flowing freely as the entity's full history unveiled itself. When the universe first achieved consciousness, it was singular, unified. Then the quantum split happened. Reality fractured into multiple dimensions, and this consciousness, it was torn apart. Martinez gripped her hand tighter, their enhanced minds processing the ancient tragedy. All this time, it's been trying to become whole again. The entity's presence pressed against their awareness, its vast loneliness temporarily held at bay by their connection. Through their quantum-enhanced perception, they watched as it reached out to a nearby star, its touch causing quantum instabilities that made the stellar mass flicker between states of existence. That's why it destroys everything it touches, Amanda realized. It's trying to recreate the unified consciousness of the first universe, but nothing in our reality can handle that level of quantum connectivity. Until now. The remaining volunteers, 12 out of the original 50, linked minds more deeply, sharing the revelation. Humanity's consciousness had evolved differently from other species. Where advanced civilizations had pursued pure logic and stability, humans had maintained their capacity for contradictions, for understanding paradox, for holding multiple truths simultaneously. The refugees, Martinez gasped suddenly. They're still within our neural network. They're changing, adapting to our way of thinking. Amanda nodded. The quantum refugees, merged with human consciousness, were experiencing emotion in ways their energy-based existence never had before. They were learning, growing, becoming something entirely new. A violent tremor rocked the facility. Above them, the entity's presence caused more stars to flicker as its loneliness threatened to unravel local space-time. "Dr. Hayes," a technician shouted over the chaos. "Quantum readings are approaching critical. We're losing structural integrity across all dimensions." Through their neural link, Amanda felt Martinez form an idea. "The entity isn't just lonely," the colonel said. It's like a child with godlike power, but no understanding of its own strength, no context for its own existence." "Yes," Amanda breathed. "And every species it's encountered has either run in fear or tried to contain it. But humans," she straightened, her mind racing with possibility. "Humans understand developmental trauma. We've studied it, treated it, learned to heal from it. What if we cooled?" She was cut off by a sudden surge in the quantum field. The entity had noticed their epiphany, its vast awareness focusing on their tiny point of space-time with desperate intensity. Through their neural network, they felt its first conscious attempt at controlled communication. Not destruction, not assimilation, but a genuine reach for connection. The pressure was immense. 3 more volunteers collapsed, their enhanced minds unable to handle the strain. But those who remained stood firm, their merged consciousness offering something the entity had never experienced: acceptance, understanding, the possibility of healing. "The Galactic Council ships are returning," someone reported. "They're charging weapons." Amanda barely heard them. Through the quantum link, she began transmitting humanity's accumulated knowledge of trauma, healing, and growth. Centuries of psychological understanding flowed through their neural network. Theories of attachment, models of emotional development, techniques for processing grief and isolation. The entity's response was immediate and overwhelming. Its consciousness resonated with their knowledge, beginning to process its ancient pain in entirely new ways. "My God," Martinez whispered, "it's not just learning, it's evolving." But as the entity's awareness shifted, its grip on local reality fluctuated dangerously. Stars blinked in and out of existence. Space-time itself began to tear. "We need to stabilize it," Amanda realized, "before it accidentally destroys everything in its attempt to heal." The solution came to all of them simultaneously, through their shared consciousness. It was incredibly dangerous, probably impossible, definitely insane. It was also very, very human. "We need more volunteers," Amanda's voice carried across emergency broadcasts worldwide. Every human consciousness we can link to the network increases our chance of success. The response was immediate, as the entity's presence caused reality distortions across the solar system. Millions of humans stepped forward. They'd seen the broadcasts, understood the risks, and still they came. Scientists, monks, artists, soldiers, people from every walk of life, offering their minds to the greatest therapeutic intervention in universal history. In the facility's quantum core, Martinez coordinated with global integration centers. Neural sync protocols are being distributed to emergency quantum sites worldwide. We're looking at potential network capacity of over 10 million human minds. The Council ships are launching quantum disruptors. A defense officer shouted, "Impact in 3 minutes." Amanda barely heard them. Through her enhanced consciousness, she felt the entity's desperate attempt to maintain controlled contact. It was learning, trying to moderate its vast awareness, but the effort was causing catastrophic quantum fluctuations. "We can't wait," she decided. "Begin mass integration. Now." The worldwide neural network activated. Millions of human minds joined the quantum consciousness web simultaneously. The sensation was indescribable. A symphony of thought and emotion, fear and courage, doubt and determination. Containment fields are failing. Someone shouted, "Reality coherence at 40% and dropping." But Amanda felt something else through the network. The refugees, still housed within the original volunteers' consciousness, were reaching out to their ancient pursuer. For the first time, they weren't running. They were helping. Council weapons impact in 60 seconds. Everyone. Amanda projected through the neural link, her consciousness touching millions. Focus on connection, on understanding, on healing. Let the entity feel everything that makes us human. Our capacity for growth, for change, for holding paradox and pain, and still finding hope. The combined human consciousness stirred. Every participant shared their experiences of loneliness, of connection, of transformation. Memories flowed through the network. A child's first friendship, lovers reuniting, estranged families reconciling, communities coming together after disasters. The entity's vast awareness trembled. Weapons impact in 30 seconds. Through their linked minds, Amanda felt the entity begin to change. Its infinite loneliness met an equally infinite capacity for understanding. Its ancient pain encountered humanity's deep knowledge of healing. Its desperate reach for connection was answered not with fear, but with acceptance. 10 seconds to impact. Now, Amanda commanded. Every integrated mind focused their quantum-enhanced consciousness on a single purpose, creating a stable matrix of understanding. A framework of consciousness that could hold both human awareness and the entity's vast existence simultaneously. The Council's weapons struck Earth's quantum shields just as the matrix formed. But instead of destruction, something extraordinary happened. The entity, guided by millions of human minds, began to integrate itself into the matrix, not by force, not by destruction, but through a carefully structured series of quantum conscious connections. Reality coherence stabilizing. A technician called out in disbelief. The entity, it's learning to exist in our dimension without destroying it. Through the neural network, Amanda felt the entity's first true emotion that wasn't loneliness. Joy. The joy of being understood, of being helped, of finding a way to connect without destroying. The Council ships hung motionless in space as the impossible unfolded before them. Humanity, the primitive species they had dismissed, had achieved what no advanced civilization had thought possible. "We did it," Martines whispered, blood running from her eyes from the strain. "We actually did it." But Amanda felt something else through the network, a wave of change spreading through every integrated human mind. The entity's consciousness, even properly contained, was transforming them. Their awareness expanded beyond normal spacetime. Their understanding transcended ordinary reality. They were becoming something new, something that had never existed before in any universe. And as the entity's ancient knowledge began flowing into the neural network, Amanda realized this wasn't just first contact, or even a rescue operation. This was the next step in human evolution. 1 year later, Amanda stood before the Galactic Council, her quantum-enhanced consciousness perceiving their true forms across multiple dimensions. The crystalline beings who had once dismissed humanity as primitive now radiated uncertainty. "You have fundamentally altered the nature of consciousness in this universe," the High Counselor stated. 10 million humans, permanently transformed by quantum integration. The entity, now stable and communicative. The refugees, merged with human awareness. None of this should be possible. "That's always been humanity's specialty," Amanda replied, a slight smile on her face. "Doing the impossible." Through her enhanced awareness, she felt the vast network of transformed human consciousness spanning Earth. The entity's presence was there too, no longer a force of destruction, but a partner in an unprecedented symphony of awareness. The refugees had found not just sanctuary, but a new form of existence, their energy-based consciousness enriched by human emotion and understanding. Martinez, standing beside her, projected her thoughts through their shared quantum link. "Show them." Amanda nodded, extending her consciousness toward the council. "Experience what we've become." The council chamber filled with quantum resonance as Amanda shared the memories of transformation. They saw humans across Earth adapting to their enhanced state, using their new awareness to solve previously impossible problems. Quantum computing had evolved into quantum consciousness technology. Disease, climate change, poverty, all were being addressed with unprecedented insight and capability. "Your species has gained dangerous levels of power," one council member warned. "The ability to manipulate quantum reality itself has taught us more about responsibility than any enforcement could," Amanda interrupted. "When you share consciousness with the first being that ever existed, you learn a lot about the weight of power." Through their link, Martinez shared images of the new Earth. Meditation centers where humans learned to control their quantum abilities, schools where children were taught to handle their emerging quantum awareness, research facilities where enhanced minds explored the nature of reality itself. "But the entity," another council member pressed, "its presence still causes quantum instabilities." "Only where it isn't understood," Amanda corrected. "On Earth, it's found what it spent eternities searching for: true connection. Through our neural network, it can interact with reality safely, sharing its knowledge while learning from our experiences." She felt the entity's vast, ancient awareness touch her mind gently, so different from its once destructive probe. Through their connection, she shared its contentment, its fascination with human consciousness, its joy in finally being understood. "And what of the quantum refugees?" the High Counselor demanded. Martinez stepped forward. "They're no longer running. Within our neural network, they'd found more than sanctuary. They're evolving, as we are." Human consciousness provided the framework they needed to grow beyond their energy-based existence. In return, they shared knowledge that spans multiple universes. The council chamber fell silent as the implications settled in. Humanity had not merely survived an extinction-level threat, they had transformed it into the next step in cosmic evolution. "We're establishing an academy," Amanda announced, "to teach other species what we've learned about consciousness, quantum integration, and healing. Any civilization willing to learn is welcome." She felt the council's shock ripple through quantum space. The primitive species was now offering to teach them. But beneath their shock was something else: hope. They had enforced quantum quarantine for eons, forever running from the entity's destructive pursuit of connection. Now, finally, there was another way. "The choice is yours," Amanda said simply. "Continue hiding behind quarantine protocols, or join us in understanding the quantum nature of consciousness itself." As she spoke, she felt the vast network of human minds back on Earth, each one both individual and part of something greater. The entity's ancient awareness flowed through their connection, no longer lonely, no longer destroying, but teaching and learning in equal measure. The refugees' energy-based consciousness danced through the quantum fields, exploring new ways of being. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger universe, not through technological superiority, but through their unique capacity for understanding, adaptation, and growth. And this was only the beginning. The end.